And
Yes.
it's going to be one of those weekends, though, where you're going to want to stay indoors.
Yes, unless you have plans today, Mace. It's looking good today. Tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah.
Bundle up.
Any time outdoors today will be okay for January. Mid-30s, we're starting off so warm this morning, but we will be so cold this weekend. Temps, again, well above freezing here in the metro at 35. Wind chill isn't a problem at 27, and the wind isn't even that strong yet. Southwest at 10. It'll start to kick up closer to 20 by late afternoon and really be blowing tonight. And unfortunately, the direction change out of the northwest will usher in much colder temperatures. But even up near the Canadian border, it's warm this morning, above freezing in International Falls at 34, some mid-20s Alexandria, Wilmer, and St. Cloud. Scattered flurries up into northern Minnesota. We'll be in a mix of sun and clouds today, maybe a flurry in the late afternoon, but turning much colder this weekend. I'll have more on that coming up, Cece.
All right, sounds good. Good morning. Hope your morning's off to a great start. Taking a look outside right now, things pretty quiet. I've only seen one crash this morning down Apple Valley on 77, but that cleared pretty quickly. If we take a look at road conditions compared to yesterday, things much better. Not seeing too many partially covered areas. Mostly good out there, but don't rule out some slight frost on some of the roadways. Take it easy, maybe add a couple of extra minutes. Still talking construction, 494. Tomorrow there's a project that I want to preview for you guys, so stick around for that just after 6:15.
Thank you, Cece. Well, as Mace has been mentioning, once we hit our high temperature today, the temps are going to start dipping.
And in just 48 hours, we'll be facing dangerous negative double-digit wind chills. Yikes. Audrey Russo is joining us live from Lake Harriet with what you should know as you plan your weekend. Hey, Audrey.
Hey, Jason, Alicia. Yeah, there's a whole host of events happening outside this weekend, including the Art Shanty project out here on the frozen Lake Harriet. It's really hard to believe that this event was cut short last year due to warm weather, when that is clearly not the case this year. And if you're not careful, frostbite could set in fairly quickly when you're outside. So I took a look at the website for the Art Shanty project and their schedule for tomorrow. They've got things slated from 10 a.m. all the way to 4. That's about 6 hours of events in the negative 30-degree wind chill. Stillwater's World Snow Celebration is also happening this weekend, and they've got attractions that remain open after sunset. Now, the National Weather Service says in these temperatures, frostbite can show up after 15 minutes outside. The safest thing to do, of course, is just to stay indoors. That is also not the funnest thing to do. So if you want to go out, layer up, get hand warmers, and keep an eye out for numbness and pins and needle sensations, particularly in your fingers and toes. That's pretty much always where frostbite starts. Now, if you're out and about and you're having fun, you also want to make sure that in addition to bundling yourself up, you want to bundle your cell phone up too, because the cold doesn't just affect human beings, it affects technology too. Coming up in about a half hour, I'll break down some of the best advice for making sure your devices are safe in the cold. But for now, Jason, Alicia, I'll send things back to you.
All right, we'll be checking back here in 30 minutes. Thank you, Audrey.
Well, this morning, dozens of people are trying to find a place to go ahead of the Arctic blast. Less than 24 hours ago, St. Paul cleared out a massive homeless encampment near the Bruce Vento Nature Sanctuary. City leaders called it a health and safety hazard. Since that encampment went up in August of 2023, they say police have responded to more than 400 calls there and 50 calls for fire and medical help. The city says they were able to place a few people into apartments, but availability remains a concern at shelters.
Happening in a few hours from now, House DFL members will be announcing their priorities for the new legislative session as they refuse to show up at the Capitol for a fourth day in a row. This all comes as we learn more about Governor Tim Walz's budget plan. His plan includes sales tax reduction, first time in the state's history. He says it would also expand it for legal and accounting services while closing loopholes. Walz says the state's facing a proposed $5 billion budget deficit by the year 2029. He says one of the biggest drivers behind this is the cost for special education transportation.
Just to give you an idea, the increase between fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 2027 is about $140 million in this area alone. If you wanted to find that much savings in state agencies, you would have to cut the entire Department of Natural Resources.
Walz says we need to make responsible cuts, but Republican Representative Lisa DeMuth said the governor isn't focused on the right things.
I think the governor is out of touch with what Minnesotans are saying. That's why House Republicans are here to do the work for the people, make sure that people can afford their lives. We want to stop fraud. We want to make sure that we're building for the future.
A new economic forecast will be released in February. In the meantime, the two chambers will work on their own budgets. Of course, House Democrats haven't been to the Capitol all week. The budget needs to get done by July 1st to avoid a shutdown. We're going to have more on both of these stories coming up in 30 minutes.
Time now 6:06. This morning, Minneapolis police are updating their policies and doubling down on their stance to not enforce immigration laws. The department says it's in response to community concerns about mass deportations. Chief Brian O'Hara says MPD hasn't been involved in federal immigration law enforcement for more than 2 decades, but says the updated policy explicitly says officers can't ask about immigration status or do anything specifically looking for undocumented individuals. The chief says it's to make sure more people feel safe calling police when needed.
Immigration enforcement is the role of the federal government. It is not our job. And quite frankly, we have a whole lot more serious crimes to focus on. And so we need everyone in the community, regardless of immigration status, to feel comfortable with calling us for help.
The new policy also gives officers more guidance on visas and foreign IDs.
It's 6:07 here on your Friday, turning now to the wildfires burning in Southern California. Fire crews hoping to make more progress this weekend as red flag warnings expire around the region. Still, more than 170,000 people are under evacuation orders. NBC's Steve Patterson has more on how people are feeling there this morning.
You know, obviously a lot of frustration. I think people really want to get back to see their homes. A lot of people haven't had that opportunity yet, nowhere near close to it. And that is because the primary firefight is still ongoing. We hear from officials as well, trying to tell those people that it's going to take some time, maybe at least a week, maybe more than that. The power lines are still down, some smoldering in a place like this behind me. You'll still see it. It's not safe for residents to come back. The health department, EPA is going to want to do a sweep, a check to make sure all of those hazardous materials are out, so it's safe for people to move back in. But until then, and until the firefight is over, which it's still not, have to keep that in mind, residents simply won't be safe to be allowed to move back. There are, of course, federal resources, the one-time payment. FEMA is assisting with trying to help people get back get their lives back, essentially. But again, it's going to take at least the next few weeks or so, maybe even more than that, before they can entertain the idea of people coming back to their homes. Back to you.
Right now, the active incidents have dropped to 3 after the Hearst fire was 100% contained. The largest Palisades fire hasn't grown in 3 days, but still only 27% contained. The Eden fire is 55% contained.
Unfortunate news this morning. It appears time has run out this morning for the Leinenkugel brothers to save their family's iconic brewery in Chippewa Falls. Brewing ended yesterday at 2 p.m. at Leine's, marking the final day of work for union workers. Today, Molson Coors officially closes its doors permanently, leaving the remaining 56 workers out of a job. This week, the brothers, Jake and Dick, put out a statement saying they offered to buy Leine's, but Molson Coors declined. The Pilot Brewery and Leine Lodge will continue to operate in Chippewa Falls. Leinenkugels will now be brewed in Milwaukee.